G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Jacinta from Dignity based in Wellington, New Zealand. Thanks for your time today, Jacinta.
No worries. Kia ora.
And how we know each other, Peter, our podcast producer, reached out and asked for you to come on the show. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. Very happy to be here.
So tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
Mm-hmm. So I am a co-founder of Dignity. We've got 2 initiatives, but our primary one is our wellbeing package. So we're all about delivering period equity. So our Women's Workplace initiative is where we provide period products in the workplace, organic period products that are freely available for employees, and we give away the equivalent to those in need. Mm-hmm. So businesses are purchasing these packages to provide in their workplace, and they are also covering the costs of us providing those in need. So a team package, which is 10 boxes of pads or tampons at the workplace, where we also give away 10 boxes, is 200 New Zealand dollars plus GST.
Yeah, great. And I heard something on the news the other day that it's becoming more common around Australia with the states offering free sanitary products within schools. So I think it's a great initiative that's getting a lot more traction these days. Mm. And tell us how you started out.
So Miranda and I did a business boot camp at the end of our university time. Mm-hmm. We didn't quite know what we both wanted to do, and you can feel quite lost at the end of that journey. So going to a business boot camp was a really good way to incubate an idea. We started off with the idea of an app, which everyone tends to do is have a technology solution. And week 1, we were ready to, with a friend to go build an app, and they said, no, go talk to people. And so we did some validation and talked to women, and an app was a nice idea, but it was more the sense of unfairness of why aren't the products just there when you need them?
Yep.
And so we pivoted towards this workplace wellbeing initiative, that health and safety has become quite a big thing in the workplace, and wellbeing falls under that.
Yep.
And there were stories about girls missing out on school. So we pivoted towards the buy one, give one period products in the workplace initiative. Started that bootcamp in November 2016, and we had this crazy week in February 2017 where we did our final pitch. We launched our new website. We had a New Zealand Herald article, and we finalized our MOU with our suppliers.
Yep.
So very crazy journey in 12 weeks, but came through with a really solid business model and foundations of a business.
Yeah, great. And 2017, when it really took off, you launched 16, I guess, late 2016. So what age were you and Miranda at then?
So we were both 21.
Wow.
21 and so aspirational.
Yep. And
I think I wouldn't start a business, the same way now, because there was something so beautiful about that naivety that, things could happen, and yes, we could do this, and maybe it will happen. And it was a bit more carefree than how you feel as a future adult.
Yeah, that's good though. And so do you have any key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth?
Definitely. So in the beginning, Miranda and I were just working on this part-time on the side of our full-time jobs. We then got 2 part-timers on, which was really exciting. And then it got to the stage where we actually needed a general manager to run the operations, because it had got to such a stage and no one had been full-time in the business since the boot camp. So I was GM for 6 months. And then I moved on to another role, and so we've had our general manager Anika, who's been on since October 2019, I believe, full-time running Dignity, and another part-time person, and Miranda and I are just directors. So the team's grown. I remember that first order we did from our customer, which was 1 team package for 10 boxes. and April 2017 we hand delivered it to our customer, and then Miranda went and drove the 10 boxes out to a school we're supporting. And 10 boxes is not very many, as you can imagine. And now we do quarterly gives where we package up a whole lot of products to send out to a whole lot of community and school groups we support here in New Zealand. And there's about 1,300 I know that we're going to do this quarter, and that goes up to sometimes 2,500 to 3,000 boxes. So that's a lot different from hand delivering products. We now have we really had to scale up.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, you've got on your website here, boxes gifted alone are over 32,000 now in 4 years. That's amazing. And nearly 37,000 people impacted. That's phenomenal. Yeah. And when was the moment you felt like you'd succeeded?
I think when we started employing people, I think there were so many little milestones. We always make a big deal at our birthday, and I think our birthday is always that point of reflection when we update the slide deck with the numbers and with the photos from the year, where we're like, oh, okay, we've done a lot. I think when we employed someone within our ops team to manage what we were doing, because we were utterly useless. These two young women with commerce degrees packing boxes with no idea how to use packaging tape properly or what packaging tape. When we got our first operations manager, she improved our operations for sure, and it felt like a real business that we were paying someone else to do something that would really improve our operations and actually take something off us that we were doing. That we could have someone that we could trust with this role within our company. That was a big moment.
Yeah, great. And what does success look like to you?
I think for us, it always comes back to the impact, and we are an impact organisation at heart. And if there is no way in our operations to actually be creating impact, then there's no need for us to exist. But every time a new business comes on board and it's supporting employees, or every time we're able to gift more product or gift product in general, it feels like impact. So I think as long as we're doing that, and when we're measuring that actually employees are enjoying that, having that initiative there, or it's making a difference in the community groups, that people are able to go to work or go to school or feel more confident, that feels like success, which is potentially a different way of viewing success rather than numbers or money. And it's different.
That's good. And number one thing you'd recommend in marketing a fast growing business?
Marketing, I do really believe in the newsletter. I do really believe in the power of the newsletter, because social media has now become about your budget and your followers, and it's exhausting, and you're chasing your tail. It's a money hole. So you'll have people that follow you, and that's amazing. They'll be your core fans, but reaching new audiences requires huge budgets. So I think there is still massive power in the newsletter. Especially if you've got people that enjoy you, you're doing interesting news. I think it's a really important part of your funnel.
Yeah, it's still the best return for marketing. The Direct Marketers Association in the USA say that for every $1 invested into email marketing or your email list, you get $44 back, whereas something like SEO is $22 and social media marketing, ads on Facebook, etc., is about $20. So definitely email is still very relevant these days. What about funding? How have you funded the business?
So we've all been through our corporates. Within that team package and the pricing that we've done, we've built in our operation costs. When we were doing the business boot camp, we wanted it to be $9 for both boxes, but then we wouldn't be able to have an operations manager or a general manager or a storage unit, or be able to ship the products. So it was really about pricing at that initial stage. COVID was a totally different ball game. We had some amazing corporates that gifted their give orders or both parts of their orders to us, because we've had this really unfortunate situation, especially during lockdown, where supply was down, that businesses weren't at work, but our demand for products was just going through the roof.
Yep.
And so that's when we launched our gifting side of things, which is our second initiative, where individuals or businesses can support by just gifting towards us to pay for product for us to give along. So there's been that with COVID, but otherwise it's fully been through the pricing of our packages.
So just in the profits of the business, you've pretty much been able to fund the growth. That's phenomenal. Well done. And if you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
I wouldn't go into it now because I think there are so many initiatives, not just ours, in this space. If this specific workplace initiative didn't exist, then yes, definitely, and maybe it would be $9. But not purposefully into it. Probably something else. Probably sort out housing in New Zealand would be what I'd rather want to do.
So you've got a big social housing problem over there as well. We do in Australia.
Housing in general, housing for everyone.
Yeah.
Is a massive issue. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's very expensive, isn't it? Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
I remember the week before lockdown here and looking at this whiteboard of what was in the bank, what costs we had coming up, and what we were looking at potentially. Yep. And there was just no way that just none of those numbers just staring at that whiteboard made sense. And it was so scary, and it was very surreal because we've got this initiative that does so much good and people really enjoy. And I felt like I was staring at this wall where this is going to end, and it would feel like a personal failure, which it's not. And very grateful that my friends and family are safe. But looking at that whiteboard, that there was no way, and there were many points during lockdown of, is Dignity going to survive, and feeling this incredible weight of failure.
Yeah.
But I think I'm very fortunate that I have a co-founder, and that helps to really balance each other. Sometimes when I'm down, she's up, and we balance each other both ways. And she's very mindful to check in. So I think I'm fortunate to have her, and also our general manager, was just such a cool cucumber. And anything we asked, and her patience during that whole time, within her first year of being general manager with us. So it's really about the people, and I was very blessed to have amazing friends and family, and the government support here was great. But I think having that immediate support within the business that is equally invested as I was in the success of Dignity, and all we were thinking about was getting to our 4th birthday, was tough.
But you got there.
Yeah, we did.
And what area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
For a while, we were really fortunate with news stories and sharing what we were doing, which was great. And so that was one way to get sales, but we didn't necessarily have a sales strategy. So when we got a sales coach on, and we had to do homework to work on lead funnel and to work out our target market, because it was a bit more haphazard, and we were fortunate with these news stories that people would just come to us. But then that stops, right? That initial hype stops. And so we reached this point of, oh no, we have to be proactive. We have to do sales. And our amazing coach would give us homework. So that was a bit of a pivot for us, and potentially a little bit uncomfortable to actually, we need to sell this thing to the market. But as soon as we worked out, okay, this is our target market, these are the people that we're after, it really helped. And having a coach, maybe it felt like homework, but we wouldn't have been self-motivated to do that.
Yep, great. And what have you enjoyed least about managing fast growth?
I think it's the logistics, and that's probably why we got rid of that so early. When we went from hand delivering to Ubering products to then having a storage unit and a courier company, we were just terrible at it. Packing boxes, I hated it. I hated going to the storage unit. I hated doing it.
It's also not best use of your time either. I mean, it should be on marketing and sales, really. So as soon as you can, throw it out to a 3PL, third-party logistics company, to warehouse and ship orders, because that's not where the value is. And you can't get the unit cost down per shipment anywhere near what they can do it for, because that's what they do day in, day out. So how far in, like a couple of years in, before you put...
No, that was about October 2017.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that was less than a year.
Yeah.
That we
move. And what do you love most about growing a small business?
The control and the creativity. There's nothing like having a business. Yes, you have all the failures and all the risk, but you have all the success. And you know that you've created something out of absolutely nothing that someone is using, purchasing, buying, enjoying, that didn't used to exist on the planet.
Yeah, it's a real buzz, isn't it? And what's been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
I think it's actually happened this year. That last year it was so hard just managing and getting through each week and each day. This year, I don't know why, and maybe it's just my age, and now that the business is 4 years old, just realizing this isn't like a university degree. A business, it doesn't end until you purposely end it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Not something you do for 3 years and then you stop and you move on to the next thing. It has to keep going. So I think realizing that this isn't a 3-year degree and that you finish and you close and you put up on the wall. This is actually a living beast that continues on and through you and through your customers and through your staff. And I think Miranda and I both understanding, okay, what does that mean if it lives on beyond us, being involved and us stepping back as directors and being just involved on a monthly basis? What does that mean? And what does the business do? And it's a bizarre thing that we've created something that, keeps going. It doesn't end unless you very purposely want it to end.
Yeah. And what's the number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
You've got to understand those numbers. You have to dig deep and into Xero or whatever it is, and you have to know what questions to ask. You have to know what to look for. You need to know your numbers, because business is all about numbers at the end of the day.
Totally agree. I think having a financial model, the economics of your business, understanding them. One, before you jump in, but two, particularly where you're growing fast, to understand what are the levers you need to keep an eye on and pull is really, really critical to your success. Yeah. Do you love talking small business growth with other owners? We have a vibrant online community from many industries around the world. Plus, we regularly add new tools and resources for community members and host 2 webinars a month to help you grow your small business. growsmallbusiness.com. Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
Yeah, definitely. We've hired quite a few part-time people, and what's interesting with part-time people is that they might be at different stages of their life, and you're going to be one stage of that. They might not be with you forever, and you have to feel okay with that. I've been references for people now that have been a part-time marketing person or a part-time ops person. So I think having the right tools for them to do their job, making sure they have data, making sure they can get to the unit okay, how are they doing their time sheeting, and I guess what we've done well would be probably the best hiring process was with our general manager, to be honest. And one of our advisory board members took on the role of shortlisting through the CVs. So Miranda and I didn't have to do that. We were already focused on getting this, everything ready for the induction of the GM. Having someone actually focused on shortlisting the right candidates without us emotionally being involved was amazing. So he gave us a short list of people, worked out a time, we met them, and it was so efficient. I think that helped take one thing off your mind. And, that wasn't much of his time to go through people's CVs. I think one mistake we've made in the past potentially is not properly doing the reference checking.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps to pick up blind spots, I think, in people that you might not see or want to see when you meet them face to face. So I think we had to learn a lesson in terms of doing reference checking.
Yeah, I think a lot of business owners go short on the recruitment process. They don't do it thoroughly, or they rush it. And reference checks is a great example, because often you get to the end and go, oh, no, I've got a good feeling about this person. I won't need to call their referees. So yeah, totally agree. What are some things you'd recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
I think having regular meetings, I think how everyone wants that is different. I'm a highly type A person, so I love my meetings, I love my agendas. I like to know what's happening. I like having a plan. So I guess that suits me. But I think some regularity of meetings, so that all of you have this expectation that this is the time that you're dedicated and you're fully present within this moment to talk about the business, but also talk about the person as well. I think that's the best part of Dignity is knowing, what people have been up to in the weekend, what their lives are, what their families are doing, how they're doing, what else are they up to, what are they planning, have they got holidays. So I think both being really present within a planned time, but really being aware of that person's life, because that life affects how they are doing in terms of work as well.
Yeah. And tell our audience how you've handled balance.
Yeah, balance is huge to me, and it is hard in the early days, especially when you're growing. And it was incredibly difficult when Miranda and I were full-time and doing Dignity part-time, getting up at crazy hours, 6 a.m.s, doing proposals for businesses, and then going after work, 6 till 8, packing boxes. It was not easy, but it was sensible, because it meant we could get to a place where the business was profitable and hire people. But I'm pretty hot on balance. We try not to do anything in the weekend, but we don't do anything in the weekend. Yep. I think balance is actually about boundaries.
Yes. Yeah, very good point. No one said that in the cast before, but that is a very good point. Yeah. And how much professional development have you invested in yourself?
I think all along the way we've taken the opportunity to learn, and I think that's probably the uniqueness we have as young founders, is because we're so naive, we just soaked in and took in everything, whereas potentially experienced people might have hidden that naivety away, that they didn't understand. But we take every opportunity almost like a lecture. Every time we go and meet with a lawyer, every time we go and meet with an accountant, we really dive deep and we ask questions, and we're not afraid of that. We don't have any ego in the areas that we don't understand. So every time we're meeting a professional that is helping with our business, we're learning from them. So I guess that's where our professional development has been, and it's felt like a business degree in its own sense.
Well, it's good if you can check your ego at the door and really listen and ask good questions and take things on board. I think that's really, really important for personal growth, professional growth, definitely. Yeah. What about mentors or coaches? Have you had any along the way? And if you've had the experience, you can talk about the value they've added.
From the very beginning, and that was very purposeful with the boot camp. So we had a mentor we met with every week, and he was there along that journey. And when we pivoted, and when we did our first pitch, and he said, "Oh, it was all right," when everyone had given us amazing feedback, because he knew our potential. So he went on to be our one of our advisors, and we still catch up with him. Really early on, we set up an advisory board, which was good for us as young founders to have real adults to bounce off ideas, and actually to push us to think strategically, because when you're in the business, you're so in it, you find it hard to look up over the clouds and some of those big questions that maybe we'd shied away from or had not tried to answer. So we do that every quarter, where we meet with the board and we have a big topic that we want to discuss, and they really question us. And I think that's been a really important part of our journey. And it is the same as that ego thing, that there are people with other perspectives that equally want, Dignity to succeed, but can see things from an outside perspective. So they've been really important.
That was the next question, if you've had a board of directors or advisors. So that's great. How far into your journey did you appoint a board of advisors?
So we've had the advisory board, from the beginning. Like, we might have even had our first, we definitely had a few meetings in 2017, and we're about to have one next month. So it's something we do.
It's amazingly valuable, though, to have people, especially outside of the business, not working day to day, and they've got different experiences and angles that they look at the business. So, for example, someone saying, why are you guys warehousing and shipping? Why aren't we using a 3PL? And you can stop and go, well, peering through the forest now that I'm standing in the middle of trees, that makes sense. We should do that, and really sharpen the focus of the entire business with a couple of people that are not emotionally attached, not in the day-to-day, and they can ask some good questions. Yeah. All right, Jacinta, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
I was about to say believing in yourself, but that sounds a bit cheesy, but
it's all right. You can answer it however you want.
It's real cheesy, but it's more the fact of if it's not you, it's not going to happen. So I think you need to be comfortable with being the person that needs to take charge and take lead. You started a business for a reason.
And favorite business book which has helped you the most?
I really liked Bob Iger's book, Growing Disney. I think his stories and his creativity, and now you think of his foresight with Disney Plus. That has helped that company survive, and they're doing well. So I really, he's a great guy. I really enjoyed reading that.
I haven't read that book, but he was at the helm for like almost 20 years, I think, wasn't he? Yeah. Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
I was subscribed to Masterclass for a while, and I did really enjoy that. And Bob had a masterclass. Shona Rhimes had a masterclass, and that was actually really cool. Very, very specific. Paris Goebel from here. So I think they were very short, digestible videos that had some really relevant experience, especially because they're very successful global people. So I think I really enjoyed that.
And one tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
I mean, we use Canva day in, day out, which I think is a necessary tool for any small business now. All our templates are in there, all our impact reports, all our flyers, our posts, our whole brand package. So we got a new brand in colours a few years ago, and they were able to update our fonts and our colours in there. So it's just our central platform for. Yeah,
I haven't used it yet, but I've heard it's like Photoshop in the cloud. It's an Australian company. Melanie Perkins, I think, is one of the co-founders, and Albright, I think, is her partner. 3 founders from Perth, WA, and it's done phenomenally well. Apparently, it's a really easy to use tool. Yeah. And finally, my favourite question: what would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
Go for it. But believe in yourself. Just do it. Just go for it. Take charge. Don't doubt yourself. Listen to people, but don't doubt yourself.
Well, thanks for your time today, Jacinta. I think the audience got a shit ton of value out of what you've shared with us, and I think you've had a tremendous journey so far, and I wish you future success.
Thank you. All the best.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please leave a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. It means more small business owners will find our cast and help people with their business growth journey.